Trimble is the technology company that connects your physical and digital worlds, so industries like transportation and geospatial can get hard work done faster than ever. Every day brings new challenges, decisions, adjustments, real-time moments that matter. With Trimble on your team, you're in command of purpose-built tech ecosystems and connected solutions that keep work flowing end to end. Turn data points into decision points, deadlines into finish lines, and possibilities into profits. Check out what Trimble can do for you at Trimble.com. Because with Trimble, you can act smarter, move faster, and lead with confidence. Trimble, confidence at every turn.
The market's uncertain, revenue's tight, and hiring on hold. That's why results-driven companies are using Upwork to keep work moving. Go to Upwork.com today and start hiring proven freelance talent fast. No bulky overhead. No rigid long-term contracts. Just the right expert right when you need them. Work smarter and faster with Upwork. Go to Upwork.com now and find your freelance expert. That's UPWORK.com. Post a job for free and get started today.
If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out Zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hi, this is Paige DeSorbo, and today I want to talk to you about Boost Mobile. So you're thinking about upgrading to the amazing new iPhone 17 Pro, the most powerful iPhone yet with 8 times optical zoom, but are you also thinking about the traffic on your way to the store or transferring all your data? Well, good news. When you order a new iPhone online with Boost Mobile, they'll send an expert to your home or work to deliver your brand new iPhone 17 Pro and get you all set up on Boost Mobile within minutes. No hassle. Visit boostmobile.com to get started. Delivery available for select devices purchased at boostmobile.com. Terms apply.
The market's uncertain, revenue's tight, and hiring on hold. That's why results-driven companies are using Upwork to keep work moving. Go to Upwork.com today and start hiring proven freelance talent fast. No bulky overhead. No rigid long-term contracts. Just the right expert right when you need them. Work smarter and faster with Upwork. Go to Upwork.com now and find your freelance expert. That's UPWORK.com. Post a job for free and get started today.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Whispering Woods Haunted episode. I'm handling this one on my own, and I will be for the next few episodes until Wednesday, and we go into 31 days of Halloween. Just want to say, if you have noticed that suddenly all of these episodes appeared in Apple Podcasts, we are finally back. I was having major issues with Apple, and it's taken me 3 weeks to get it fixed. Also, I will admit that it was my fault. It was something that I was doing. So welcome back if you're listening on Apple. At least I've learned to never do that again. It was something to do with the settings. On today's episode, we are going to Pendle Hill. I'll get straight into it. Are you ready for the story? Pendle Hill looms over the Lancashire countryside. Its slopes steeped in dark history and eerie legends. The air itself feels heavy here. Locals say that something still stirs on Pendle Hill after sundown. A subtle movement in the mist, a chill that raises the hairs on your neck. This remote hill gained infamy over 4 centuries ago, with the Pendle witch trials of 1612, one of England's most notorious witch hunts. 10 accused witches were dragged from their homes around Pendle, tried at Lancaster Castle, and executed by hanging. Their alleged crimes included consorting with the devil and murder by witchcraft, based on the flimsiest of evidence and the testimony of a frightened child. Among the condemned were members of 2 local families, led by elderly matriarchs Elizabeth Southerns, known as Old Demdike, and Anne Whittle, called Chatterts. The trials ended in bloodshed. Old Demdike died in a dungeon before the verdict, and on August the 20th, 1612, 10 people from Pendle were hanged on Gallows Hill for witchcraft. Their bodies were said to be buried near the hill they once called home, and the memory of their fate has haunted this region ever since. Even today, the shadow of the Pendle witches lingers. The entire area is often described as unnaturally quiet and brooding. In 2011, a construction crew unearthed a 17th century cottage on the slopes of Pendle Hill, quickly dubbed the Witch's Cottage. Inside its crumbling stone walls, archaeologists found the mummified remains of a cat bricked up behind the chimney. Sealing a live cat into a wall was a folk practice meant to ward off evil spirits, a gruesome talisman against witchcraft. The discovery, coming centuries after the trials, sent a shiver through Lancashire. It was as if the past had forced its way back to the surface, a stark reminder that Pendle Hill's story is far from forgotten. Over the years, Pendle Hill has earned a reputation as one of the most haunted places in England. Visitors on solitary walks often report an uncanny feeling of being watched. Many have cited mysterious figures, standing or moving on the hilltop when no one else should be there. In the dead of night, people have heard what sounds like faint laughter or whispering carried on the wind, only to find themselves alone. One recurring vision is the spectral black dog, an eerie, shadowy hound that appears briefly on the moonlit moors and then vanishes without a trace. This phantom dog evokes the old tales of witches' familiars. In the original 1612 testimony, one accused witch claimed a demonic black hound approached her, promising dark powers. To this day, some believe the witches' familiars still roam here in spirit form, guarding their mistress's old haunts. Locals in the surrounding villages of Newchurch and Barley don't take these stories lightly. They admit there are places around the hill they avoid after dark. Visitors have described sudden surges of emotion on Pendle's grounds, flashes of anger or sadness that aren't their own. It's as if the land itself remembers the injustice and pain suffered long ago. In fact, many residents refuse to even discuss the witch trials openly, as though speaking of it might stir something unseen. When night falls, few are willing to wander the open slopes or the forested regions of Pendle Hill. Those who do often report seeing shadowy figures darting between the trees or stones at the periphery of their vision. A walking figure that seems to keep the same distance behind you, no matter how fast you go, or a dark silhouette atop a ridge that disappears when you shine a light. These are common descriptors from shaken hikers. Not all the reputed ghosts are connected to the witches from 1612. The area has witnessed other tragedies over the centuries, and perhaps some of those souls linger too. There are accounts of child spirits seen or heard on Pendle Hill, maybe victims of some accident or illness long forgotten. A few ghost hunters claim they've detected the presence of suicide victims on the hill, sensing deep sorrow in certain remote spots. Pendle Hill's lonely expanses have seen their share of desperate acts, and some say the restless ghosts of those unfortunates sometimes answer when called upon by a medium or a Ouija board. It's no wonder that every Halloween, throngs of paranormal enthusiasts flock here with cameras, audio recorders, and EMF meters, hoping to glimpse a wandering spirit or capture an EVP in the open night air. One modern haunting, documented by a local paranormal investigator, shows just how intense a night on Pendle Hill can become. A few years ago, on a calm summer evening, a woman named Helen, an alias used in her published account, and two companions set out to investigate Pendle Hill's summit. Setting off from the village of Barley at 9 p.m, they intended to climb the hill under cover of darkness, an adventure into what many here consider forbidden territory after twilight. The sun had long set, and only their flashlights and a sliver of starlight guided them as they started up the narrow trail by an old reservoir. Initially, the hike was peaceful, if a bit eerie. The only sounds were the crunch of their boots and the distant trickle of water. About an hour into the trek, as the path wound upward along a steep edge, the atmosphere changed. The night grew preternaturally quiet. No owls, no wind, just an oppressive silence. Then came the voices. Helen would later recall that, on at least 5 separate occasions, she and her friends heard indistinct human voices murmuring nearby on the dark hillside. Each time, the leader of the group would stop, thinking he'd heard one of the others speak. Each time, it became clear nobody in the party had said a word. The disembodied voices seemed to flit in and out of earshot, sometimes a quiet conversation just off the trail, other times a single distant call. The trio would shine their torches toward the sound, expecting at any moment to catch the gleam of another hiker's jacket or the shape of a person, but nothing was ever there. The hillside lay empty under their beams of light. The voices would stop for a few minutes, only to pick up again a little further on, always about 15 or 20 feet away, among the rocks and heather, just far enough to evade the light. They couldn't make out the words, only that someone or something was nearby, keeping pace with them. As they pressed higher, their initial excitement gave way to a gnawing unease. An hour stretched into 2. The isolation was absolute. By now the village lights were hidden by the slope, and the only sign of the world below was an occasional pinprick of a farmhouse window. Halfway up, Helen noted a sense of dread settling over the group. A bone-deep feeling that they were trespassers on forbidden ground. The darkness felt thicker, heavier. Still they pushed on, determined to reach the summit and not give in to fear. Their equipment, an EMF meter, a spirit box, an audio recorder, remained frustratingly silent, picking up no unusual readings or voices. But still the disembodied murmurs followed, growing louder, more frequent. At times, the voices sounded so close that Helen was sure a living person was about to emerge from the gloom. But each time, their torchlight cut only across empty rocks and swirling mist. Shortly before midnight, the 3 investigators finally clambered up the last steep bank and stood upon the broad, flat summit of Pendle Hill. By now the night was bitter cold and the wind had picked up, whistling over the bare ground. Exhausted and unnerved, the group huddled by the trig point, a stone monument at the peak, to catch their breath. The paranormal pursuit had almost been forgotten in the struggle of the climb, but Helen reminded herself why they were there. They switched on the spirit box, a device that scans radio frequencies for spirit voices, and asked into the darkness, "Is anyone here with us?" No intelligible reply. The EMF meter stayed at 0. Apart from the low hiss of the wind, all was still. For nearly an hour, the team kept vigil at the summit, taking photos into the dark and asking questions to whatever might listen. Nothing, except perhaps one thing. From that lofty perch, they could see the vague outline of the road they came by, a ribbon in the darkness far below. And along that road, there appeared 2 tiny lights, like the glow of lanterns or torches moving slowly. At first Helen thought they must be late-night walkers or farmers out with flashlights, but these lights did not behave normally. They weren't following the road or any other known path. Instead, the 2 pale glows drifted back and forth across open ground, sometimes merging into one, sometimes dancing apart. For a few minutes, they would disappear entirely, then flicker back to life in a spot where no person could have moved to so quickly. The group watched, puzzled, as the lights eventually faded. It was 1 a.m. by the time they decided to descend. Any excitement they had at the summit was gone, replaced by a mutual, unspoken desire to get off the hill as fast as possible. They opted for a different route down, a steeper but quicker footpath that zigzagged straight toward Barley. This path was barely 2 feet wide in places, with sheer drop-offs lurking in the darkness. The descent became a controlled slide on loose gravel and mud. Several times, Helen had to steady herself against the ground to avoid tumbling forward. About halfway down, they reached a flatter stretch, flanked by a dry stone wall and a small pocket of woodland. Here, the darkness was nearly complete. The trees blocked what little starlight there was. As they hurried along the wooded path, Helen kept her camera in hand, snapping photos into the black every few paces. More out of anxiety than expectation of finding anything. And that's when she saw it, a mist hovering between the trees, just off the path to their left. It was a faint, gauzy fog that seemed to form out of nowhere, no more than a few yards away. Startled, Helen focused her camera and took a picture. The flash lit up the night for an instant, revealing nothing visible to the naked eye. But when she checked the digital photo, her heart skipped a beat. The mist was there in the photo, a wispy white shape against the gloom, and within it, a face. She could see the suggestion of eyes, a nose, an open mouth contorted as if in a wail. It looked like a woman's face, emerging from the swirling vapours. Helen called out to her brother, who was walking ahead, to look, but as he did, the mist itself began to move. In the faint glow of her torch, she watched the pale cloud glide away from the path. Within seconds, it thinned into nothing. She clicked another photo. It showed only the trees and stone wall. Whatever apparition had formed in the damp night air was gone. With nerves on edge, the group pressed on along the dark lane, now keenly aware that they might not be alone. The night had more surprises in store. Without warning, a loud noise broke the silence, a burst of sound that resembled a human voice, a guttural gasp or moan that erupted from the shadows right behind them. Helen spun around, expecting to confront a person, perhaps even a prankster, who had snuck up. Her torch beam danced among the gnarled trees and bushes. No figure, no animals, nothing but the empty road stretching behind. The sound had been so clear, so close, like an angry exhale or a final breath at her shoulder. Yet there was no source to be found. The three exchanged tense whispers. Had one of them imagined it? No, all three had heard the same sudden noise in their ears. Helen swept the EMF detector around. The needle stayed flat, the voice recorder around her neck, which had been running, would later reveal no corresponding sound at that moment. They hurried on, practically jogging now, as the ground levelled out and the open country road to the village came into sight. Just when they thought the night's strange phenomena were over, two lights appeared ahead of them, the same twin orbs they had observed from the hilltop. The lights glowed a few hundred yards down the road, hovering above the asphalt. This time, the investigators approached cautiously, calling out a tentative "hello" into the darkness. There was no reply, and as they drew nearer, it became clear the lights were not held by any person. The pair of dim white spheres floated in the air, moving slowly. At one moment, the lights drifted to the left over a roadside field, then twirled back to the right. Helen later described that the orbs almost seemed to play cat and mouse with them. Whenever the group would advance a bit, the lights would recede, maintaining an unreachable distance. When the investigators paused, the lights would also pause, bobbing in place as if watching. The silent chase continued for several minutes along the last stretch of road. Finally, as the village outskirts and the parked car came into view, the two lights blinked out one final time and did not return. The trio were alone once more in the quiet pre-dawn dark. It was nearly 4 a.m. when they clambered into their car, shaking from cold and excitement, and drove away from Pendle Hill's silent slopes. Helen shared her experiences and the curious photo of the misty face in a local paranormal forum and later a blog. The image, once enhanced, appeared to show not just one face, but multiple faces swirling in the vapour. A collage of anguished expressions. Some who've seen it say they can make out at least 2 or 3 distinct women's faces in the mist. Are these faces just tricks of light and imagination, or the anguished spirits of the Pendle witches reaching out? Helen herself admitted that if she hadn't seen the apparition with her own eyes, she might have dismissed the photo as pareidolia. But she did see that face form and glare at her before it evaporated, and she heard the voices and the phantom breath on her neck. In her account, she stopped short of claiming she proved anything about ghosts, yet she left Pendle Hill that night, convinced that something unexplainable had followed her, something that seemed to toy with them, almost to communicate, but on its own terms. Whether you can see a face or not, there is undeniably some sort of mist, Helen wrote of her photo, adding that her experiences on the hill speak for themselves. Helen's story is just one of many. There is talk of a cackling old woman heard in the woods on the hillside, an unseen figure whose dry, mocking laughter can freeze you in your tracks. More than one night hiker has reported feeling the unnerving sensation of being watched, and then, out of nowhere, hearing a burst of cackling echo among the trees. In one story, 2 friends walking a trail near Bali after dusk caught the sound of high-pitched laughter and then felt hands grasp their shoulders, only to turn and find no one there. Another frequently reported vision is the shadow crone, a black-clad hunched silhouette of a woman that appears on a distant hillock or beside an old stone wall. One minute she's standing there, seemingly solid and real, but as you draw nearer, she fades into the darkness, sometimes preceded by a strange whisper or groan on the wind. Witnesses have described her form as wearing what looks like a shawl or cloak, head bowed, perhaps searching for something she lost centuries ago. Flashlights and camera batteries have been known to die suddenly when people try to approach this figure. Skeptics might dismiss this as fanciful hallucinations, but those who have seen the shadow crone swear that for a few heartbeats, they truly believed they were face to face with one of the Pendle witches in the flesh.
Trimble knows that in the industries we all depend on, where speed counts, every turn matters. Trimble is the technology company that connects your physical and digital worlds, so you can see what's coming, take intelligent action, and get hard work done faster than you ever thought possible. Check them out at Trimble.com. Ready to turn data points into decision points? Turn deadlines into finish lines? And turn possibilities into profits? Then turn to Trimble. Trimble. Confidence at every turn.
If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out Zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
I didn't cover lots about the Pendle witches in this episode because it is a haunted episode, and I wanted to focus on the kind of area because it sounds like some stuff is going on there. Now, Lancashire is miles and miles away from where I live, but I would love to visit. I really would. I mean, what were the lights? What was going on there? What were the voices? Really great story. I'm so excited now because we're going into Halloween, and on the 2nd of October, it is our 3rd year of doing the podcast, and I can't believe it. Just a quick reminder as well that this was the last haunted episode until next year. But as I said, we've got 31 days of Halloween, so that will be an episode every day. We've got the main episode on Monday, which is another story for Season of the Witch, and then we are having a special drop on the Tuesday as well. Just because it's spooky season and I've over-recorded. Take care, everyone.
Every day there's a new challenge to face. So meet Pendle, the technology company that connects your physical and digital worlds, allowing you to make decisions and take intelligent action to get the hard work done. And the best part, you can do it all faster than you've ever thought possible. Check them out at Pendle.com. You ready to turn data points into decision points or turn deadlines into finish lines? How about turning possibilities into profits? Then turn to Pendle.
If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out Zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Fall is here and Nordstrom has the latest styles and hottest trends, thousands of options for under $200. I'm talking about plaid outerwear, oversized sweaters that are cozy, Western-inspired pieces, prairie dresses, and you know I love a skirt. Nordstrom has free shipping and returns, which is why I love them. And they have fast options like buy online, pick up in store. Shopping at Nordstrom is always easy. I love that Nordstrom is always high quality and kind of guides me in what's trendiest for the season. And they have the top brands like Veronica Beard, Favorite Daughter, All Saints, Coach, Rag & Bone, Tory Burch. So shop now in stores or at Nordstrom.com or download the Nordstrom app.